This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at the HTC Titan II. This is available on AT&T April 8th, the same day as the Nokia Lumia 900, two big Windows phones on sale. This guy sells for $199 with contract, and it features a 16-megapixel camera on the back and a 4.7-inch display. The HTC Titan II has a 4.7-inch Super LCD display. That's what HTC calls their LCD displays, and it's a very nice display. It doesn't have that wow and zing of an AMOLED display like on the Nokia Lumia 900 or even the Galaxy Skyrocket on AT&T as well, but it's very clear, it's very natural, and it's fairly color accurate, which is nice. Resolution is 800 by 480 pixels, so it's the same as on every other Windows phone because that's one of those things that's written in stone for Windows Phone, that resolution. In future versions of the operating system, they will support higher resolutions, but that's not going to help you with the Titan II or the Lumia 900, any phone currently on the market, because they are using hardware set 800 by 480 displays to match the software support. Despite the fact that this is a 4.7-inch phone and it should be absolutely huge, it's really not that much bigger than the Lumia 900 with this 4.3-inch display. And it's really comfy in the hand. It has nice curves. In fact, it's an improvement over the original Titan in that respect. See on the back here? Now what this is actually made of, it's really hard to tell. It could be plastic, could be metal. The last Titan was metal and was a little bit slippery. This is a soft touch, kind of grippy finish. Feels really nice, but it looks good. It looks like some kind of anodized aluminum or something like that. Antenna radios, of course, are under this plastic cap. Also soft touch. If you look from the side, you can see just how curved it is everywhere, so it feels good in the hand. And this little guy here has a kind of corrugated texture. It looks interesting. It integrates very well into the design, but it's actually removable. And under here is your SIM card slot. There is no access to the battery on this phone, but you have access to the SIM card slot. And here it's a full-size SIM card slot, not a micro SIM like the Lumia uses in the iPhone. On the side we have our dedicated camera shutter button as a requirement for Windows Phone. Your volume rockers are here. Here's your headset jack, and one of the microphones is up here, and here's the power button up top, which is a very nice and logical place to put the power button. Micro USB port on the side here, and another microphone hole on the bottom. One of the neatest things about the design of this phone, which is very elegant, granted it looks similar to other phones on the market, other HTC phones particularly, but still, among them, it looks very elegant and nice, and what we really like is the curved glass here. See the curve of the chin that comes up here? The glass itself is actually curved as well, and that's where your capacitive buttons are. So it kind of wraps around your face a little bit, feels good, and just gives it a really neat style element. And then the glass itself has a nice little curve where it barely just raises up there. So really nicely put together. It looks like a high-quality phone, and indeed it is. And now we have the Titan II on the right and the Nokia Lumia 900 on the left. And you can see that the size difference, well, it's not that much of a size difference really. It's really something. And the weight is similar between these two phones. In fact, the Titan II weighs less than the original Titan, and it doesn't feel like a real burden in your pocket. From the side, the Titan II is thicker. The curves on the edges will make it look thinner, but it's a little bit thinner than the Lumia, but pretty darn close. So surprisingly pocketable. We're going to be doing a separate smackdown between the Nokia Lumia 900 and the Titan II, so we're not going to go into all the other differences right now. The Titan II has a 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S2, that means second generation CPU. Again, that's standard for Windows Phone. You're going to find that CPU on pretty much all phones right now, well, actually every single one of them, and only the clock speed's going to vary. That's 100 megahertz faster than the Lumia 900, but let me tell you, 100 megahertz really doesn't make much of a difference. And as always with Windows Phone, because the hardware is so set in stone, they have a whole lot of optimizations, and this thing really flies. It's very fast. UI never lags, plays games just fine, browses the web, all that kind of thing. So you're not saying to yourself, oh man, I wish this had a dual-core CPU. The phone really wouldn't run any differently with the dual-core CPU. And as usual, 512 megs of RAM, again, that's standard for Windows Phone 7. And this is actually running Windows Phone 7.5 Mango. It's one of the refreshes that adds support for LTE, and the phone indeed has LTE. It and the Nokia Lumia 900 are the first two Windows phones with LTE for fast data. And that's LTE on AT&T's network, since this is an AT&T exclusive phone. It has 16 gigs of internal storage, and that is not expandable. There is no micro SD card, and that's because of the way the Windows Phone handles external storage. It formats it as one continuous volume with internal memory, and you can't ever take the card out without corrupting memory. Kind of a headache, so manufacturers actually avoid offering that feature. You can sync your music to the Zune desktop. That's a free download for Windows, and if you have a Mac, you can use Windows Phone Connector to sync your iTunes songs and videos that are not DRM protected to the phone. And it will also sync photos back to iPhoto. If you're using Zune Desktop, photos will sync right into Zune. Big selling point of this phone is actually not the front. It's the back right here. 16 megapixel camera with a dual LED flash. That's a crazy high resolution for a phone, right? And indeed, it takes very nice pictures. HTC doesn't spend much time telling us about what lens is on here, but it's a pretty good lens because this takes very nice sharp shots. It is a backside illuminated sensor, so it does well in low light, and it's pretty quick to focus and take a shot as well. Really, some of the nicest photos we've ever seen come from the Titan II. The phone can also shoot 720p video. Ha ha, right? No 1080p here. That's again a Windows Phone limitation. Now an update can bring 1080p recording. Potentially, that's a possibility. I'm not promising it to you, but I know that Microsoft has that in the future. But it's kind of amazingly silly, isn't it? You got a 16 megapixel camera in your phone and it only shoots 720p video. And unlike photos, video is fairly unremarkable. I think they just went with the standard Windows Phone 7 processing for video, and I wasn't at all wowed with that. It's the photos that really rock on this. And if you want to launch the camera, you just press and hold the button here. By the way, you can wake it from sleep by doing that. You don't just press it quickly because that would be a pain. You'd be taking pictures of your pocket all the time. If the phone is completely off, press and hold the camera button to wake up the phone and start shooting a picture. Anyway, you can see the interface here of our lovely orchid in the back, genuinely huge viewfinder, and you saw that little macro symbol flash for a minute. It has auto, and you can actually manually set if you want to, but auto has figured it out for itself, so we're going to take a picture, and you can see, press halfway to focus, press all the way to shoot. Now one thing I've noticed is you have to hold this quite still. The bigger the phone is, the more it waggles like a barn door when you're holding it and taking a picture, so you got to give enough time to actually focus. There we go. And hold it still and take a shot. And then you get absolutely stunning shots, sometimes with very nice depth of field. If you've got something up close, for example, the background is pleasingly blurred like it would be with, say, a digital SLR camera. In terms of focus speeds, that's not the fastest I've ever seen. That's one thing I'll say. You got to give it about 1 to 2 seconds there to go back and forth and figure it out. For features, we've got panorama shot mode built in, burst shot. As you can see, we're using an intelligent auto scene, and it was able to figure out macro, but you can also manually put in portrait, landscape style portrait, which is going to give you again that depth of field effect. Sports, backlit shot, backlit portrait for those people who are standing in the sun. Text, candlelight, beach, snow, party, foliage, fireworks, sunsets. And there's even a food one for those of you who are either novice food photographers or just foodies and love to take pictures of your food. We've also got smile capture here and a variety of effects. You can change the resolution, face detection, white balance, brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, and ISO too, and of course flash control right down here. So pretty sophisticated set of stuff that we've got going on here for our camera controls. And if you want to switch to video, you just tap the little video icon here, and if you want to switch to the front camera, it has a 1.3 megapixel front camera. You can do that by tapping here. Now you're probably not going to be dying to take pictures of yourself all the time, but that camera is pretty handy for either using Tango for video chat, or if you want to download the Skype beta, you'll have to visit Skype's blog to actually get the link to the Windows Marketplace. If you just search a Windows Marketplace, you won't find it, but it is indeed there, and Skype works fine on this. And we will have sample photos in our full written review on mobiletechreview.com, so you can check out the photos taken with the Titan II. In terms of software, you've got all the standard Windows Phone 7.5 stuff here. You have your live tiles, and you can customize those. Anything you don't want here, you can press and hold and unpin it from the start menu. Anything you do want to add, so here's my full list of applications alphabetically ordered. I can just press and hold on it, and I can put it on my live tile here. Now some live tiles are actually live. You can see my Xbox live tiles moving around. That's mostly for visual entertainment. It's not informing me of anything. It's just showing my avatar bopping around. But you can get news and weather tiles that actually do update. And the People Hub itself is always changing. Now it's going to flash through all my friends here, but you can also access your Facebook and your Twitter. It's a really nice integration. It shows people I've recently called, everybody who's in my contact list, and any social networking stuff that I've sent recently. And you've got tweets and Facebook stuff here. So I want to take a look at something. And I can tweet back. And it's a very nice, clean integration. So you're not going to be desperate for some third-party Twitter or Facebook solution, though both of those are available in the Windows Marketplace. In terms of third-party applications, they're up to 80,000 now in the Windows Marketplace, which is certainly dwarfed by what Android and iOS offer, but all the staples are there. You've got your CNN, you've got your Slacker, ESPN, Weather Channel, WeatherBug, all those kind of things. Netflix, of course. This was actually one of the first platforms to get mobile Netflix. And there's even a third-party Pandora client now. That's one thing people have been complaining about. Oh, there's no Pandora, man. So, check it out. This is how you multitask, by the way. Press and hold the back button, and I can go through everything that I've just been doing here. And as we swipe through, you can see here's my Pandora client, which is called Metro Radio. And also, if turn off the phone and look at the lock screen, here's a control for it right here. So that's pretty neat. Even though it's not a built-in application, we can control music playback. And obviously it plays music in the background. And we're at 20 of 30 for volume. And that's what it sounds like. So that's Metro Radio, which is pretty cool. And it's a free download too, for those of you who like Pandora. Sound volume and quality is pretty good on the phone, and we also have a couple of HTC customizations, which includes their own audio enhancement called Sound Enhancer. You can see you can do for music and video separately. You got no effects, SRS, and you can use an equalizer for when you have headphones plugged in as well. Nice little add-on from HTC, and you can see that we also have something called Attentive Phone, which we can turn on. Quiet makes the ringtone quieter as you're picking up the phone. You got pocket mode, makes it ring louder if it happens to be in your pocket. It uses a proximity sensor to figure that out. Flip it for speakerphone, and flip it to mute the ringer. Now, as you might know by now, each manufacturer gets to have their own set of custom applications that they can make available on the phone. They can either preload them or put them in the marketplace under a section for, in this case, HTC apps. So you can see we've got the Hub, which we'll show you in a minute. HTC Watch is their movie and TV show rental service. Location-based application, connected media, Tango, dock mode if you want to use this as a bedside clock, unit converter, list, notes application, a flashlight, a compass, a calculator, something called Love, which I've never really understood the point of, and connection setup to help you if you need to change your cellular connection settings, which you, generally speaking, don't need to do, but it's there anyway. So here's HTC Hub, and you can see it shows me the weather on the little hub on my live tile, and it gives me weather for a variety of locations. I can choose those. Not unlike the Android and even the old Windows Mobile customizations that HTC did. We've got stocks here, and you can customize these as well. News sources, and apps that they're featuring, which are generally HTC apps, but we've got a couple of other things like Guitar Hero and Tetris as well. So that's HTC Hub. In terms of built-in applications, we have, of course, built-in Hotmail support. No surprise there. We've got MS Office Suite Mobile, IE9 Mobile, which does not have Adobe Flash support. It does do HTML5 video, Xbox Live for gaming integration, Zoom music and videos, it'll show you in a minute, and we've got some AT&T stuff bundled here as well. By the way, anything that the carrier bundles on this phone that you don't want, you can actually remove it. So not only can you remove these live tiles if you don't want them, but you can just whack it. So say I don't want AT&T radio. I mean, the thing already has an FM radio. Gee, why do I need that? Just say uninstall. It's going to get whacked, and indeed, it's gone. So that's one nice thing about Windows Phone. Nothing is sacred. You can all get whacked, except for the built-in applications. Like you can't remove IE. You probably really wouldn't want to anyway. Nice customizable stuff. Let's take a look at the web browser. And we've got a menu here. You can see we have favorites, you've got tab support, you've got sharing, various other settings. You can request mobile or non-mobile sites, and it depends on the website as to whether they're going to pay attention to your request, but mostly we get non-mobile sites by default on this, which I actually prefer. And this is over AT&T's LTE network, which is quite fast. According to our bandwidth test application, we're getting 18 megabit per second down and about 6 megabit per second up, which is similar to the Lumia and just plain lovely. If you're not in LTE coverage, this area, it falls back to HSPA plus, 21 megabit per second, so you're still doing pretty well in terms of speed. So you can see you got your URL bar here. You can get it whether you're in portrait or in landscape mode, and scrolling speed is just fine. You can pinch to zoom. Now that's one thing about this 4.7-inch display, even though it's only running at 800 by 480, which is kind of stretching the limits of how big you want to make a screen relative to its resolution, but desktop web pages like this one right here are readable without having to pinch and zoom in, so that's pretty handy, especially if your eyes aren't the greatest and you're tired of staring at tiny text on your iPhone and tapping in and out. This is pretty darn readable no matter what web page you're looking at. Speed is just fine on the web browser, and again it plays HTML5 video, including if you go to a YouTube mobile site, you'll just get the HTML5 version of the videos just like you do on the iPhone or on any phone that doesn't support Adobe Flash. Call quality on the Titan II is quite good, and it's a noticeable improvement from the original Titan that came out in the fall of last year, which had mediocre voice quality, sadly. This has good reception, it's solid, it's just about on par with the Nokia Lumia 900. Nokia makes some really good radios, and calls, incoming and outgoing, are nice and clear. You have a giant on-screen dialer. This is your standard Windows Phone kind of thing right here, and access to your call history and to your people contacts as well for easy dialing. And we've also got the built-in universal search here. That's your right capacitive button, and you can search for your contacts on your phone. You can search the web. You can search all sorts of stuff using that. The phone has the usual Zune music video player. Fairly charming experience. You can see right here, you launch it and you got your choice between music, videos, podcasts, radio, which means FM radio. Plug in some wired headphones and you're good to go to listen to FM radio, and you can access the marketplace to buy more music. This works with the streaming Zune subscription service, but you don't have to subscribe. If you just want to load up the Zune desktop with some music and sync it on there, burn your own CDs, whatever, you can do that just fine. And like I said, Mac people, you can just sync straight to your iTunes library as well. So of course you can check out things like here, they're trying to get me to subscribe to a Zune Pass. Quick link to apps, and then back here, so we'll look at music on the phone, alphabetical, the same Metro style kind of thing. And visually pleasing. I love the way it takes the album art and other photos and puts them in here, so you get more information about the artist of the album as well. And with your standard set of playback controls, and it does play in the background as well. And when in Zune, you can watch videos that you've sideloaded and stuff that you've either rented or purchased from the Zune service, or just anything that you've got yourself in the way of videos. And it'll also show you anything you've taken with the camera. So we're going to check out one video. There's a shot.
Here's a sample video taken with the HTC Titan II on a sunny day.
Not nearly as exciting as the photo quality, but not too terrible. And just for the sake of comparison, here's some still photos that we've taken with the camera. Really nice, sharp, colorful stuff. Now, gaming is a big part of the experience with Windows Phone. We've got Xbox Live integration here, and pretty nice selection of games. And you can see I've got some interesting titles loaded here. I've got Sonic, Civilization Revolution, yes, Angry Birds is available too. And one neat thing is you can download and try out the game first, and it gives you enough time to really play it to get a sense of whether or not you like it. We're going to take a look at Sonic here. Controls are not the best on Sonic, but one thing that this will show is games usually look really good and sharp, but when you're stretching things out to 4.7 inches, they can start to look pixelated, especially an older game like this, which really isn't starting with the best resources. but it clearly does have very loud audio. So nice and colorful. Again, a little bit pixelated though because we're stretching it to such a large size on screen, but still fun and still playable. Besides transferring multimedia files over USB, this also supports SkyDrive as a free download from the Windows Phone Marketplace, so you can actually use the cloud to transfer stuff back and forth. There's a third-party Dropbox client, so you've got some cloud coverage here. Just like all Windows phones, this supports MS Exchange email, obviously. You also have POP3, IMAP, and Gmail support, and you can sync calendar and contacts from Google to this in case you happen to be defecting from Android. Phone has a 1730 milliamp battery that's sealed inside, and HTC claims only 4 hours of talk time on the phone. Now, we're still testing that, but so far the battery life actually hasn't been that bad. It sounds like it's going to be really atrocious, right? Big LCD display can eat a lot of power, and the second generation Snapdragon was not the most powerful, and especially LTE is not. Now, we're in an LTE coverage area. We're always in LTE, and still the battery so far, we have made it through the first 2 days with this phone. But check out our full written review to find out our long-term results with the battery. So that's the HTC Titan II, available for $199 with a contract on AT&T. Competes with the Lumia 900, and like I said, we'll be doing a smackdown between those two phones. Is this worth twice as much money on contract as the Lumia? Well, you know, it depends. The camera is certainly amazingly good, and if camera's important to you, there's that. And also the bigger 4.7-inch display makes text easier on the eyes, though it is less sharp. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website to read the full review of the HTC Titan II.